Well, welcome back into Facts Not Billions, live streaming from NADA 2024. So exciting. As we've talked about a couple of times, it's been like really, really hot. We're starting to get a shade over us a little bit. I'm looking over here. I'm like, oh, I'm actually in the shade a little bit here. It's kind of nice. I don't feel like I'm overheating as much. Might be able to put on the jacket. We'll see. We'll see. And we have with us, if you are unfamiliar, you're going to get to meet this gentleman right here. We got Fred from Motives. God, I was close. Like I was practicing before, and I'm like, look at the shirt. I'm like, phonetically, it's M-O. I don't know. So I'm like, once again, we're going to hand the mic over to him and let him do his thing. But we were introduced from the one and only super connector, Laurie Halter. Love her to death. She's amazing. Unfortunately, can't be here, but we're so excited and miss her like crazy. And I was just blown away with some of the stuff that you all are doing right now. And we're going to get into the takeaways from NAD and all that. But let's start with your company and what you guys do.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being here. I wish I was in the shade. I feel like the chicken McNugget underneath the McDonald's light. But so what Motive's done is we've taken a really arduous process of insurance verification, that typically starts with the, salesperson asking for an auto ID card. And there's immediately there's a fallacy that actually means anything, because it doesn't. It's just a piece of paper. It means maybe you had it at some point, but could have been canceled. And so the dealership would typically make the phone call to a Geico and wait on the call center for 15 to 30 minutes because carriers keep reducing their call center headcount. But it's a must do because you have to make sure your customer has active and adequate insurance. And so we've automated that process, 97% automation. Now it's simply a text or an email from the salesperson to a consumer consent process where they just give us the credentials. We real time grab all the data and bring back to the dealer they're active. Almost as important, if not more, is adequate, because if you see the data, people are reducing their coverage because of prices.
It's
and
crazy.
So, and if you lease versus purchase, there's different requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's accuracy. Is my address the right address? Is it the right name? And so it really helps facilitate. It gives all that labor back. But the other real large issue is compliance. And so now with GLBA and some of the changes, you can't have auto ID cards and driver's license sitting around and paper and all. So that all goes away. It's all digital, and it's a simple email or text, and they get all that time back, and now they're compliant.
That's so amazing. I was talking a little bit yesterday with some people about the joys of not just GLBA, which is all encompassing fun, but the cars rule coming down the pipe, which is just crazy what they're asking. It's just nuts. So knowing that you're compliant, you've got all this, like, man, that just makes. Thank you very much from all of us. Like, oh, man. And so I was really cool to hear about what all you do and how the integrations. You integrate with the DMSs, correct?
Yep, fully headless as well.
Nice.
So it can be a queue for the dealer, or it can be fully integrated to any of the DMSs, which are having great conversations with them. So
I love it. Okay, so this is your first NADA. Like, oh my goodness, first NADA. So what inspired you to come here? Like, to come to the amazingness and the Super Bowl of all things? I get that, but what inspired you all to come here?
When we were talking to folks about launching in the auto space, that was NADA came up every single time, and it's big.
Yes, it is.
When people say, "Hey, I'm in the North Hall and I'm in the West," I'm like, "Oh, sure, no, I'll be there in a second." I'm like, "What?"
I'll see you in an hour.
I'm like, "Do I need a tram to get to the North Hall?" I mean, it is massive.
It's like an escalator that takes me there, something like the people mover.
It is. It is impressive. Not just the sheer number of people, but the quality of the conversations that you have. There, a lot of conferences you go, there's clearly you're a vendor, I'm customer. This is kind of a different vibe, and it's really kind of nice. Everybody's actually considerate and open to hearing how can they get better their, really at the end of the day, better the customer's experience, because that's kind of what matters. And that's and even in the insurance verification piece, the last, I think it was CDK or Cox that put out a report that said insurance itself, that process of verification can help or hurt 12 points on the SAT scores.
That's crazy.
And so it's nice to just be in an environment where there's not you're a vendor, go over there.
You got to sit in this corner and you sit over here. The lunch table is split at this point.
Exactly.
That's crazy. Okay, so your first time here, what has been one of your big takeaways, especially that being your first one?
I would definitely say the takeaways have been the really open communication and partnership feel for everyone we've talked to, whether it is a CDK or any of the other DMS systems. It is, let's sit down and figure out a way to work together, not a way to keep things separate.
The wall of gardens, yeah, man, it's crazy, and that's a big one for me as well. And you guys have solved a lot of problems, and I love that. But what are one of the biggest challenges you're seeing going into 2024?
I would definitely see a challenge around education, because the particular one of compliance, right? It's one of the things everybody knows.
No, they think they do.
It's almost like insurance, honestly, right? You only care about it when you need it,
Yep.
right? And so compliance, people are going to care about it when they start getting fined,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
And it's coming.
Yep.
It's coming for sure, because this data is privacy. And so everything that we do is consumer consent driven. You've got TCPA, DLE. I mean, there's a lot of millions of the acronyms to make sure that at the end of the day, all the data is protected. And I think there's an educational component. It's great that we save time. It's great that we automated a process, but it's not the really cool part of it, but you're compliant. You don't have to sit there.
I'm not getting sued. This is nice. I like this.
It's crazy. We talked to many dealers in the process, and they're like, we got, look here, I got 7 emails. No, you can't do that.
No,
and so,
no.
And that verification process, it's not just when you're buying a car. A huge hole that we have found is loaners.
Oh, that's a big one.
We have case studies from dealers where somebody came in, same process, you go to get a loaner,
yeah.
and they're like, hey, I need your auto ID card. Person took it home, gal, brand new Hyundai Santa Fe, 19-year-old son, took it out, rolled it. She didn't have insurance. They had to write the whole thing off. Oh my God. And so it's a very neat process. But compliance should drive, but
One would think. Yeah, I mean, anyone that's watching, if you're in a dealership right now, I'm sure that those loaner stories, those horror stories are going through your head. I've got one in particular where it was sent out, got shot up, like just bullet holes all through it. They bring it back. That was there when we picked it up. Really? We had bullet holes in the car. Yeah, no, we did not actually, as it turns out. There's nothing they can do about it. The entire side is full of bullet holes. I'm like, what? Did you take it to a gun range? Like, where'd you take this vehicle? But it's so important to do that. I love the compliance thing. We've got Andrea Amico coming on here in a little bit, and he's Privacy for Cars, which is just, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but incredible product, what they're doing. Anytime I am in a car, it's just awesome. So he's all about compliance. You follow him online. And he's posting articles all the time, just of how things being leaked or cars are taking data or whatever it may be. So it's just,
well, it's a fraud. I mean, it's really a fraud preventer as well. Because think about it. If you're somebody who intends fraud, right, and you come in and the first thing that happens is you need to get your insurance verified. Well, that means you have to give me your real phone number or email, and you're going to go through a process. And I'm going to say, well, wait a minute. That says Robert, and your name. You told me your name's Steve.
Hey, Billy Bob, what's going on? That's
that's going to be like, hey, I need to use the restroom, and then they'll never come back.
Yeah, the cops come in. Oh God, what's going on?
Yeah, there's so many stories of the typical process of give me your auto ID card. They take a picture, and then usually that manually moves through the process. Yeah, and we've talked to a lot of people where at some point it goes to the person who's doing the registration, the titling, all that, and story after story. That auto ID card's missing. They lost it. Yeah. So now they got to call the customer who's already unhappy because now I'm giving you a third copy of something. Yep. So all that goes away and it just becomes compliant.
And to bring that up, and I know you talked about this a little bit, I just want to circle back to this because compliance, when you're looking at it, and it may not be a sexy topic, I get that. It is so incredibly vital that you have it to know that, hey, going paperless, I don't have the ID sitting out. I don't have your social security number sitting out. Now, those are all finable offenses from the FTC. So knowing that those things aren't there anymore, I mean, just like weight off your shoulder, because it happens all the time, all the time. Pay plans, things are left out all the time. But that's one area where you can be like, oh, I don't need this anymore.
And it's all there for history from an audit perspective. So there's no more like physical copies of anything anymore, but the dealer has the option to go back and say, well, let me make sure I got audited or that person did leave and they got a wreck. I can go back because we pull back the actual auto ID card real time from the insurance company. So they have that at their disposal.
That's so nice. Yeah. Well, Fred, it has been such a pleasure speaking with you, getting to know you. And Lori, once again, thank you for introducing us.
Yes, Lori, thank you.
We miss you dearly.
We definitely
miss you dearly.
Everybody's talking about Lori. As soon as the whole room lights up when you mention her name.
I know. It's just like, you can't smile, but like, you say her name, like, just sunshine. It's so nice.
She's a breath of fresh air.
She really is. Yeah. She really is. And we hope that you're doing much better, hon. And yeah, just thank you so much for talking about it. Thank you for what you guys are doing. And yeah, I will say, well, this has been your first one. Let's round out with the last question here. If you could give one piece of advice to someone that's looking to come to NADA for the first time, what is it going to be?
It would definitely be bring a team. I don't know that we're going to get to every single booth. Yeah. There's so many. There's so much opportunity. I would not hesitate at all to come back. We will be back next year, and I would encourage anyone that is looking to be in this space to make the trip.
Love it. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Thank you. Everyone, thank you for being a part of this. And we'll be back with someone that's lining up over here. I'm not sure who it is, but somebody who's awesome and fantastic. And then when we'll see everyone in a little bit. All right, thank you.
Take care.